From the Intellifluence headquarters in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, this is the Intellifluence Influencer Spotlight. In each episode, we sit down with an influencer from our network and we discuss their background as well as their unique approach to influencer marketing. Shannon Peel is a business influencer based in Canada who tells brand stories, designs content, and connects people. Shannon is unique in her industry because she has experience in sales, marketing, advertising, investments, design, and storytelling. Shannon combines these skills along with her ability to cut through clutter to create a plan of action that will help her followers and clients meet their goals. Learn more about Shannon at shannonpeel.com, or you can follow Shannon on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn to name a few. Cool. Let's get started. Sammy, kick us off with the first question.
So can you tell us briefly about your background and how you got started as a business influencer?
Okay, so I started in the financial industry 20 some odd years ago, and my job was being marketing a financial planner. And then I went to work in capital markets a bit, ended up working for myself for a while, went back into sales. I sold oil pipe and pump jacks in Calgary for a little while. I learned a lot about sales. I went to advertising and selling advertising. That was great. And then, everything started going digital and started learning about blogging and all that kind of stuff. Became a novelist and a writer, and then we moved to Vancouver. There's a lot of work here, but I found it very hard to find a position for myself. And so I just went out and thought, hey, you know what? I love personal branding. I love telling stories. Obviously, I'm a novelist. So I created a personal brand for myself and then made a business out of it.
Yeah, I love that you touched on that because as a storyteller, what are some of the ways you channel creativity within your business and marketing consulting to provide a unique experience to people? Okay,
so like I was saying, right now I'm at an event where people are pitching their companies to investors. And I find that a lot of times people don't know how to tell their own story because they want to tell everything. It's like they all of a sudden go, I've got to tell you everything all at once, right? Mm-hmm. So I really like taking that and deconstructing the message that they're giving me, asking questions just like you're asking me today, and then reconstructing that in a logical way using storytelling techniques in order to create curiosity and engagement with the audience instead of just telling the audience, but actually trying to find out what does the audience want to know from me.
And then on your website, you describe being able to understand how people interact with content as a strength. And this is one of the most important pieces of influencer marketing, both for brands and influencers. Mm-hmm. Can you discuss just a couple of strategies for gaining a better understanding of how people interact with content?
The best way is to talk to people. Like today when I'm here, I'm talking to investors, asking them, okay, so what you're looking at for a company to invest in, what are you looking at in these presentations? And other times it's, okay, so what are people buying? How are they buying it? Engaging with them on social media. And I find that by engaging with them on social media, I learn what they will engage on back because it becomes a two-way conversation. Of course, there's data analytics. I mean, that's the boring part, right? You download the analytics, you say, okay, well, this one was shared, this one was liked, this one was shared, and you try and build more content around that. And then you go out and read as much as you possibly can to learn about what stories people are actually engaging with. However, what worked yesterday doesn't always work tomorrow. It doesn't even always work today. What worked today might work tomorrow. I have one client, I run his Twitter account, and we just started it. But because of the topic, I get a ton of views, even though he has a tiny bit of followers. He's got less than 200 followers, but his views are 4,000 impressions a day consistently, which is what I get with 8,000. And then I have another one, they just gave me an account with 20,000 followers that they had. I'm having a hard time getting it up to 1,000 impressions a day. So I'm learning more and more about how not just the number of followers, that doesn't matter. And it's about quality of followers and how to find those quality followers and how to find out what information needs to be on what site. I was just talking to one guy here and we're talking about what he's anyway, And once we start talking, I was like, well, you don't need to be on Facebook. You don't need to be on Instagram. Your clients aren't there. So it's understanding who's where and how people actually interact with that content.
And I like that you mentioned that on social media, it's kind of a two-way street, interacting with people, because that's very important for brands to do when collaborating with influencers. Can you name a few of your favorite brand collaborations to date?
Well, I think my favorite one so far is IoT Economist, because I'm building his personal brand. He's got an amazing international, the people that he knows blow my mind. And I'm not going to name drop because they're that big. And it's just interesting because it's like interviewing him, helping him write the blog posts, promoting those blog posts, and really learning about smart cities and technology, things that I never knew were there. And trust me, it's kind of scary. It's like, okay, what am I going to be doing in 10 years when the computers are doing my job?
Oh, man. And Shannon, in your experience, you touched on it earlier about making sure that you're on the right platforms. What are some mistakes influencers make when trying to establish their own personal brand, like maybe rookie mistakes that are just obvious?
Trying to tell everything at once. Being on the wrong one, thinking that, okay, I'm going to get business by being on Facebook, but I'm a B2B company. Not having the platform in place, you don't have a website, you're using a Gmail email account. You're not really clear about your brand. Like the first thing I do is I give people a branding workbook and I say, okay, go fill this out for me so I can understand what your brand is. And when the feedback I get back is, wow, I didn't even know this about myself. So it's really interesting. Then it's like, okay, well, here's your 5 values. Now, before you post something, ask yourself, why am I posting this? And then if it doesn't fit within those values, don't post it. Now that said, I am guilty of making a lot of mistakes. Posting stuff just because I'm a little ticked.
And then a lot of influencers, when we ask them this question, they always answer videos. So where do you see influencer marketing heading in the next 5 or 10 years?
Into AI. We're going to be following computers. There is one thing, I thought I had connected with this really impressive person on Twitter, and we're talking back and forth, and then I met him and said, oh yes, you weren't talking to me, you were talking to some other person. Never, ever, ever tell somebody that they're not talking to you. Just the whole balloon pops, right? And I think that that's really where we're going. We're going to be having chatbots talk to us. We're going to be having chatbots do everything. We're going to be having AI writing stuff. And people are going to feel like, oh, I'm talking to so-and-so. Look at me. I'm talking to Richard Branson. Da, 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 da. No, you're not. You're talking to some bot. And I don't know about you, but I'm older, so I guess it's just that feeling of like, oh, I've been duped. And I really think that influencers can really use too much of that. I don't think it's video. For some people, it definitely is. I don't watch video. I like to scan information and see whether or not I'm even interested in consuming it. I would much prefer to listen to a podcast while I'm doing the dishes than have a video going. But that's next gen thing, right? Because I'm X gen, totally different than millennials. My kids are Z gen. My daughter, ton of YouTube. So I guess it just depends on there's just gonna be a lot more options available. But really, technology is gonna be what telling us what the next thing is.
Want to join Intellifluence as an influencer for free? It's easy. Visit Intellifluence.com, click on the influencers link, and then click on the Join for Free button to sign up. Once you have registered, you will get immediate access to our influencer marketplace where you can browse relevant offers from brands and apply on the spot. You'll also be eligible to receive attractive product and service pitches from brands. There's absolutely no cost to join as an influencer, so we hope you take advantage of our service. Also, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and well, you know the drill. Until our next episode, keep being awesome.